Without any further ado, we will go to our first office, which is Elector, and the first speaker is Michael Maybach. Michael, if you haven't unmuted yourself, there we go. Go for it.
Okay. Good evening. Thanks everybody for investing time in our party. I've been a lifelong Republican. In 1972, when I was an undergraduate, I was elected to public office in DeKalb County, Illinois, the first American elected under 21 years of age in U.S. history, because I was 3 months, 12 days into the 26th Amendment. I had a wonderful 40-year business career, and last year when I retired, I started the Center for the Electoral College, and I'm also a national spokesman for the Save Our States organization, so I give Electoral College speeches almost every week and interviews, etc. I want to give you 3 facts, 3 benefits of Electoral College, and 3 reasons to ask you to vote for me. 3 facts are that of the 28 countries in the European Union, only 2 have direct popular election of their head of government. The rest are chosen by parliament. So we have much more democracy than almost all of Europe. Number 2, LA County has more people than 41 of our states. And if we move to the national popular vote, we might as well just have New York and California choose every president. Number 3, the Electoral College system is like the World Series. It's not the most runs over 7 games, it's the most games. And we have to win states. Trump won 30 states, for example. It's a very fine system that serves us well. 3 benefits. Number 1, we have a 2-party system because of the Electoral College that orders our liberty in a terrific way. Since September, the Israelis have tried to elect a prime minister, and because they have 10 parties in a 110-person Knesset, they can't get a majority. If we got rid of the Electoral College, we'd have a dozen parties. We could hardly elect a Speaker of the House, to say nothing of a president. And number 3, 25 states require voter IDs in the United States. 25 states give driver's licenses to illegal immigrants. My gosh, the corruption and the recounts would be a disaster if we had a national popular vote. If you thought Florida in 2000 was a mess, think about 50 state recounts. Finally, 3 reasons you might want to vote for me. Number 1, I've offered to give all the Republican groups in the 8th district the speech I give on national popular vote in the Electoral College. Number 2, I created the Virginia Coalition for the Electoral College. We're about a dozen groups focused on defeating national popular vote in the state Senate now, and already passed the House of Delegates. And number 3, of course, I'll support the popular election of the President of the United States, Mr. Trump, so we can go in December in Richmond and as electors vote for Mr. Trump. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thanks, Mike. All right, I didn't see James Glenn pop into the participant feed. James, are you there? Give him a minute. All right, if not, Barbara, do you know how to unmute yourself there?
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Barbara Bowie Whitman.
Hello, I'm Barbara Bowie Whitman. I would love to serve you in Richmond in the constitutionally elected position of elector. Now, if I'm to do that, first you have to choose me over Michael. He's a great guy and he works for the Electoral College every day, but I'd like you to choose me. And then we all have to do something that's bigger than that. We have to deliver a plurality of the popular vote in the Commonwealth for Donald Trump, because winning on Saturday doesn't do it. Winning on Saturday chooses the Republican nominee for elector. The elector is chosen on election day when you go into the poll and vote for the elector pledged to Donald Trump. I want to be that person. I can help us get to that point on election day. I'm a fundraiser for Trump. I'm a good grassroots worker. I raised $500,000 for presidential candidates in the past. I've worked for every Republican presidential nominee since '64. Lead district chair 2 terms, one 20 years ago, one just finished last year. And I'm a grassroots worker who's delivered stuff personally to 1,400 houses when we were short on volunteers. I've done this for 5 decades. I would consider being a constitutionally elected elector as to be a capstone of a 56-year career. I'm an economist, a diplomat, a trade negotiator. I was a press spokesman for the Central American trade negotiations, and I could do a good job of defending us against any controversy that could arise during or after the election and up to the functioning of the Electoral College. Send me to Richmond, but you got to vote for me first on Saturday. Thank you, Barbara Bowie Whitman.
Thank you, Barbara. All right, give James Glenn one more chance if he jumped on here. I don't think I saw him. Okay. Next up, we're going to move to the candidates for delegate. So we're electing 3 delegates and 3 alternate delegates to the RNC convention in probably Charlotte, although there's a little battle going on between President Trump and the governor of North Carolina right now. Everyone will get 6 votes, and the top 3 will be our delegates, and the next 3 will be our alternates. And I know Jim Trollinger is here. Jim, can you unmute yourself? He was here.
All right.
There he is.
There we go. All right. Jim, you're up.
Thank you. Hello, my fellow Republicans. I hope all is well with you and yours. My name is James Trollinger, and I'm a candidate for delegate to the Republican National Convention. Having been a volunteer and a precinct captain for many years and vice chairman, and then chairman of Mason District, I can tell you that I'm a solid conservative who loves our state, our country, and our flag. I believe strongly in the pillars of our government as laid out by the founding fathers. I am and have been a strong supporter of President Trump. I have been endorsed by the Trump campaign for this position. It would be my honor and privilege to represent you as delegate to the National Republican Convention. I ask that you please vote for me, James Trollinger. Thank you. All yours, Mark.
All right. Thank you, James. I believe Karen Rose, who would be next in the order here, was unable to make it, but I'm going to give her a chance just in case she was able to jump on at the last minute. If not, what about Adam Roosevelt? Adam, are you here? Okay. I know Linda Pellegrino's here, so Linda, if you can get yourself unmuted, you will be next.
I'm on, excuse me, I'm on mute?
You're not anymore. You're all set, Linda.
Okay, my video's not working apparently, but
There you are.
okay.
Just go ahead, and if it goes in and out, we can still hear you. If we can't, I'll let you know.
Thank you. My name's Linda Pellegrino, and I'm running for national delegate. I've had almost 40 years experience as a campaign manager getting conservatives elected in Blue Fairfax County. My first campaign manager job, I worked for Carter Thomas School Board. I got him elected in Springfield District. Next, I worked for Senator Dick Black's special election in 1998. I also, and that was a winning campaign. He got elected delegate. Then later on, he became a state senator. I'm endorsed by all of these people that I'm talking about. I've been endorsed by Senator Dick Black, Carter Thomas, Eugene Delgadio, whose campaign I worked on in Loudoun County. I've been endorsed by Rick Neal, the former 8th Congressional District Chair, as well as Treasurer for the RPB. And I have had a long track record of being a foot soldier. I consider myself a foot soldier, grassroots foot soldier. I go going door to door, campaigning, writing letters to the editor, recruiting, training volunteers for the Republican Party. That's why Carter basically offered me a job sight unseen. I'm also endorsed by David Ray, former State Central Committee member. I can't remember everybody I'm endorsed by, but anyway, those are just a few of the people that I'm endorsed by. I have had a long track record of being a consistent constitutional conservative. I support President Trump's agenda. I admire his tenacity, his spirit to fight the liberals and the deep state. I admire that about President Trump. And I'm in the, if I'm in the vein of a conservative Republican, I have always supported Republicans in general, but I am a conservative, constitutional conservative Republican. And I've taken a lot of hits for it. On the Dick Black campaign and the Carter Thomas campaign in particular, I was attacked in the press because I was supporting conservative Christian candidates. And I will always continue to serve the Christian and conservative cause. I am Linda Pellegrino, and I look forward to your vote on May 30th at the Waterford and Springfield. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda. Okay, next on the list is Andrew LaPoster. I don't know that I saw him join, but I'll give him a chance. Okay, next up, actually, I think I skipped one here, but it's fine. Sean Lenahan. Sean, I see you're on. I know you are traveling, but if you're there, go ahead.
You got it. Thanks a lot. I appreciate everyone being on the call tonight. Sorry, I'm going to keep it on the avatar there, though. Again, like Mark just said, my name is Sean Lenahan. I'm running for the delegate. I am the current chair of the Alexandria City unit, starting my third term. Been an election officer and been active in supporting our candidates. So I'm proud to have been endorsed by the president as well as in the role here for the RNC delegate. So I'll keep this nice and short. Thank you all for being here tonight, and really appreciate you coming out on Saturday. And I ask for your vote, Sean Lenahan. Thanks again.
Thank you very much, Sean. Really appreciate it. I know he was not getting on a flight, so he may be on an airplane somewhere, but we appreciate you calling in. I would technically be next year. I'm not going to take a lot of time. I would appreciate your vote Saturday. I've been chairman of this committee for a few years now, and had not been to a convention to represent our party, so it would be an honor for me. But we're going to move to keep this moving and be respectful of everyone's time. James Glenn is also running for this office. I don't know if he's joined us since we got to the elector. It doesn't look like it, but I will give him a moment. I don't hear anything. Okay. Derek Giannino did inform me he could not make it tonight. I believe Diane Cullo is here, and she would be next.
I
know
am.
She was having there she is. Great.
I think I actually blew the microphone on my computer from overuse of Zoom meetings over the last 8 to 12 weeks. First of all, Mark, thank you so much for putting this opportunity for all of us to speak and see each other. I also have used the avatar on there. My name is Diane Cullo, and I am running to be one of the 3 delegates selected to represent the 8th District to the National Convention to support the president. I've spent more than 30 years behind the scenes as a professional political advisor on the local, state, and national levels. Some of you may know me or have heard of me when I spent time serving as the FCRC Executive Director under Chairman Jay McConville. Some of you may have seen me in the polls working as a chief and an assistant chief at the voting booths. I've got to say that from my very first Virginia delegates campaign I worked on in Alexandria, to the congressional campaigns, to Ollie North Senate campaign, to the presidential races, I've always focused my career on communications. And I believe that without clear and articulate messages, we just won't win. And whether you're in Arlington or Fairfax or Alexandria or Falls Church, we make up the 8th District, and together we've got to make sure that we bring a clear and supportive message to support our president for re-election. This is going to be a very tough year. I do believe that there's room for all of us. I believe that we should work together to make sure our president is reelected. I do believe that the 8th District has hope. And I am proud to be one of 6 members of a slate of candidates supported by the Trump-Pence campaign for delegate to the convention. I would love the opportunity to answer any of your questions. I'm available at any time, 703-244-5891. But most importantly, Mark, thanks to the 8th District for putting this together. I think everybody has something to offer, and I think together we can move forward together and win.
All right. Thank you, Diane. I should have said at the beginning, this is our first one of these and hopefully our last. Hopefully at the next convention we'll be able to meet together in person. Our next speaker is Bill Cleveland, and I know I saw him earlier. Bill?
Hello.
Give you a second. There he is.
My name is
You're
Bill
up, sir.
My name is Bill Cleveland, and you've all received my background and my experience. I want to thank the 8th District Committee for this opportunity. I believe in the 6 pillars of life: integrity, faithfulness, punctuality, a quality workmanship, a pleasant attitude, and enthusiasm. I am grateful for 3 Republicans who taught me the meaning of being a Republican: Noel Taylor, Tom Wilkins, and Rayford Harris. If you get a chance, please Google them. They're great guys. So I've also had opportunity from other people, but these people stand out the most to me. I also, we also need to work together. I'm a staunch Bible reader, and I'm sold out. And I believe those of us who believe in the word, I want you to look up 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 15 to 26. It'll tell you exactly where we need to be as a party. I would appreciate being one of your 6 votes on Saturday. Help to send Cleveland to the GOP convention. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you on Saturday.
I muted myself. Thank you, sir. Next up is Barbara Bowie Whitman. She is also running for delegate. And Barbara, you're going to need to unmute yourself again.
I'm Barbara
Great.
Bowie Whitman, and I'm competing among this fine team of people to be one of your representatives to the National Convention, and I'll get there wherever it is. I have participated in 10 national conventions, but only once as a delegate. I would be delighted to have an opportunity to serve you again as a delegate. In my other 9, once I was an alternate, and at 8, I was a worker bee. My first convention was 72 in Miami. My second one was 76, where I worked on the Rules Committee staff. And exactly how conventions work, I can get through any problem that might arise for our delegation. I will not tell you everything I've done for the 50 years as a conservative activist, and I'm not going to sing my Republican song. But I will tell you why I've done what I've done for 50 years. I'm a dedicated conservative because I believe in economic liberty, free markets, and a government that does not interfere with our daily lives and is limited to those functions which are truly public goods, those which only government can provide. Dedication to these principles has motivated all that I have done, both in the party and in government service. And it motivated my work to find new economic opportunities for our country in the 9 trade agreements I negotiated. I'm a Trump finance team member since June of 2019. As a volunteer fundraiser, I've raised $500,000 for Republican candidates for president. I was lead district chair 2018-19 and 1998 to 2000. I'm a grassroots worker who's dropped 1,400 houses personally in one cycle when we were short on volunteers. I'm an economist, diplomat, trade negotiator, and a retired Foreign Service officer and a former National Security Council staffer. Each of you on May 30th can select 6 people. I want to be one of your 6. Please vote for me on Saturday, Barbara Bowie Whitman, for a member of the national delegation to our convention. And I'll get there by hook or by crook, wherever they hold it. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. All right, Aaron Anderson, I see you on the list here. If you're there,
Yes.
It's your turn.
Can you hear
Great.
me okay?
We can.
Okay, splendid. Hello, I'm Erin Anderson, and I'm also running for delegate to the Republican Convention. I'm a native Virginian, and I've been a big supporter one of the original supporters of Trump since he came down that escalator. I won't repeat some of the things I said in my previous video. I started out in politics working for Senator Barry Goldwater here in his offices in the Rayburn Senate office building, because part of my family is also from Arizona. From there, I shifted over to the House side to work for the Republican Campaign Committee, and then again over to the Republican leadership, working off of the House floor with the Republican Conference, organizing meetings there. After my time on Capitol Hill, I went to Asia, China. I went into China first as a missionary, and I stayed on in China for years doing business there. Returning to the States, I was hired to be a China analyst. Phyllis Schlafly of Eagle Forum then sent me around the country because of my knowledge and what my family was enduring regarding lack of border security. So I went to all the different state capitals talking to the elected officials there about the dangers of the lack of border security and how it was impacting their different states. Locally, I've been president of the Patriot Republican Women's Club. I was actually recruited by Helen Blackwell, God bless her. And of more recent, I have been an election officer. I've been an election officer for a number of years, and I strongly encourage all Republicans to please be election officers. We need you desperately to push back on voter fraud. And also, if I have the honor of being elected to be your delegate to the convention, do know I would be taking with me a wounded warrior, since I have wounded warrior in my family, but I'm very active with the wounded warrior organizations. And if not a wounded warrior, at least a first responder. Again, thank you, God bless you, and I'd certainly appreciate your vote.
Thank you very much, Erin. That concludes our delegate portion of this. So thanks to all of you who spoke during this part. The State Central Committee is next, and those are going to be three-minute speeches. And I believe we have at least 3 of our candidates on for that, and we'll start again in reverse order. So Eric Wilson, I know I saw your name on the list.
Hey, Mark, how are you?
Great.
Thank you so much for putting this on. It's good to see so many folks joining tonight. Hope to see more of you on Saturday at the convention. Tonight, rather than give you another speech, which you can watch on the 8th District website, and I'll put a link to that right there in the chat, along with my email. Our team decided to take this opportunity to answer questions from Republicans throughout the 8th District. I'm running on a team with Sarah Curran, who sends her regrets. She's had a sudden illness and isn't able to join tonight, as well as Jack Blakely. You'll choose your top 3 candidates for the State Central Committee on Saturday. If you have a question that we don't go over tonight, please email me, Eric, E-R-I-C, at ericjwilson.com. It's also there in the chat. And so we asked for your questions via Facebook and email, and so here they are. The first: what can we do to blunt the transformation of Virginia by Ralph Northam and Democrats, as well as at the national level? Well, I think this is simple. You know, we have to win elections so we can stop the damage that they're doing, both here in the Commonwealth and at the national level. None of the principles we stand for are going to see the light of day as long as Democrats are in charge of the General Assembly and the House of Representatives. So we've got to win those elections. I think that's the best way to turn around the damage that they're doing. Second question: what political experience do you have that qualifies you for this office? Well, I'll let Jack talk a little bit about his experience, but I've personally served in senior leadership roles on 2 statewide campaigns here in Virginia. I was the top digital strategist for a presidential campaign in 2016 for Senator Marco Rubio. I've also helped conservatives around the world with their campaigns. I've led trainings, and I'm really excited for the opportunity to bring this experience back to my home here in Virginia. Third question: what can we do to ensure RPV does more to support candidates in Northern Virginia? I think this is a great question. Obviously, we need to do more, especially at the State Central Committee, to make sure that the state party is investing in our candidates here, right? We have to have competitive margins here in the 8th District and Northern Virginia more broadly. But I also think it's a two-way street. We need to develop our bench of talented candidates, because you can't win a marathon if you can't run a single mile. So we need to start focusing on local offices and providing resources and training for those candidates and recruiting them. Right now, the state party isn't doing enough to welcome people who want to run. Fourth question, what is the role of the state central committee in supporting candidates? Well, I think that the best way for the state central committee to support our Republican candidates up and down the ticket, from President Trump to whomever we choose as our 8th congressional district nominee, is to ensure that the state party raises more money online, which is essential to modern campaigning. I've helped candidates all around the world raise millions of dollars online, and I want to share that expertise right here with the state party. We need to do more to register voters. Voter registration is down in the most Republican parts of our state. And we need to be able to provide material support to our candidates. You can't do that if you're not balancing the budget, you're not paying your bills, which is the current problem with the state party. And all of the debates around different ideologies and styles and formats and things like that has unfortunately distracted our party from doing the critical work of party building. So with that, I want to thank you so much for your attention tonight. And if I didn't get to your question, my email is there in the chat. Be honored to have your support for our team on Saturday so we can get to work for the 8th District and the Republican Party of Virginia and get us back to winning. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. I know Vincent is here. Vincent, I would try your last name, but I would most certainly not get it correct. So I'm going to turn it over to you, if he's still here. Vincent?
Yes.
There we go. You're on, sir.
Sure. Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much for this opportunity. This is wonderful. Dear friends, my name is again Vincent Xavier Palathingal. You can call me Vincent for convenience. I'm a candidate for the State Central Committee. I'm an immigrant from India, came here 28 years ago. I have a bachelor's degree in engineering from India and a master's degree in engineering from US. I am currently running my small IT business with my wife. I have 2 successful FCPS graduated adult children, both went to UVA for their computer engineering degrees. I have been an active member of Fairfax County Republican Party and currently serve as the vice chair for community relations. I ran for Fairfax County School Board last November as a Republican endorsed candidate, ran a very spirited campaign bringing out the issues to the forefront. I am a constitutional Republican, and I believe that God-given rights, liberties, and personal responsibility are the cornerstones of building a successful society. I also believe in small government and free enterprise. I am pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, and have been an ardent Trump supporter since early 2016. Our state Republican Party has struggled to deal with the changes that have taken place in Virginia. With almost 50% of the 800,000 residents in the 8th District belonging to minority communities, we need to think strategically and expand our tent. For that, we need to actively seek to connect with them. We need to revitalize our party by becoming activists. I was an activist against the One Fairfax policy plans of FCPS, which fortunately they don't talk about more recently. With a clear understanding that we are the opposition party at every level in our state, we must fight resolutely to win again. These are my goals, and that's why I'm running with 3 major planks to my platform: expand, revitalize, and fight to win. I am not part of a slate, and I don't believe in any group within the party. The Republican Party and its ideals are my only hope to ensure that I have a strong country to pass on to our children and our grandchildren. That's the only reason I am running. I want to expand our party tent so that we can start winning again. If we do not embrace change, we will continue to fail. I represent change. I can unite people, and I am ready for the fight, but I need your support. I spoke with many of you already, left messages, text, voice, emails, and a regular mail. Now I invite you to join me on my Zoom meeting on Thursday at 8 p.m. I have the details in the chat window. I have a flyer that I have sent out as part of my direct mail that I mean, you might have received it today. Details are on the mail. Please vote for me on Saturday for the State Central Committee. My name again, Vincent Palathingal. Stay safe, happy, and healthy. Thank you so much, Mark, and everybody for putting this together. Thank you.
Thank you, Vincent. All right, our next speaker is Jack Blakely, and this is I believe, our final one for the State Central Committee.
Thanks, Mark. Am I unmuted?
You are, and it looks like you might be in Richmond.
Well, that's the goal, to get us back in control down there. Well, hello all, I'm Jack Blakely and I'm running on the Build and Grow RPV slate with Sarah Curran and Eric Wilson. I'll also be answering some of the questions we've collected tonight, and we all hope to earn your vote at the convention on Saturday. So here are the questions I'd like to answer. What is the role of State Central Committee in supporting candidates? I believe the State Central Committee should be laser focused on building party infrastructure. There are more people that want to run for office than actually run. And every potential candidate that chooses to sit it out, in my view, is a lost opportunity for Republicans. We need to become masters of the basics, registering voters, raising money, and providing actionable support to Republicans. Second question, what can we do to blunt the transformation of Virginia by Ralph Northam and the Democrats, as well as the national level? This is the big question. We need to grow the party, and the first step is figuring out what victory looks like in the 8th. The good news is that math can be done, and I believe our #1 priority is delivering enough votes out of the 8th to allow us to achieve statewide victory. Everything else starts from there. Third question, what political experience do you have? I was elected 3 times as the Young Republican National Committee man here in Virginia and retired the position last year after being elected to the executive board of the Young Republican National Federation. During my first term, I was the only elected Young Republican representative from Virginia who regularly attended the National Committee meetings. Virginia didn't have the best reputation for showing up back then, and I was something like the voice from the Virginia wilderness. However, after 3 terms of hard work, Virginia now has 4 elected Young Republican representatives on the National Committee, and we regularly attract national resources. We've had Young Republicans from North Carolina, South Carolina, and Pennsylvania knock on doors here for our local elections. And that's the best example I can think of for how I approach politics. It's only by building the foundation first that we will ever achieve success. I do want to thank you for your time. I'll put my email and contact information in the chat, and I invite you to reach out with any questions you may have. Thank you again, Mark, for putting this on.
All right, thanks, Jack. And you may have earned some votes by going under time. Sarah, I'll just give you one more chance. I know she was feeling ill, but she said she might try to jump on. Okay. All right, we'll move now to Congress. And reverse alpha order leads us to Jeff Jordan first.
Hi, everyone.
Great.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm Jeff Jordan, candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District. Mark, I want to thank you and the 8th District Committee for putting this forum on and for the benefit of the candidates as well as the delegates. I hope everyone had a great Memorial Day weekend. It's a precious time to remember and honor the fallen heroes of our nation. Having spent nearly 3 decades serving this great nation in military uniform, I spend my Memorial Day weekends reflecting on those close friends, my brothers and sisters in arms that have sacrificed their lives not just to defend liberty, but to advance it and provide it to others around the world. So imagine my surprise at receiving an incredulous and unprofessional email from the opposing campaign that claimed my endorsement by Vets for Trump was a lie. That message was not out of concern. My opponent levied conditions and demands to remove my endorsement from social media within 24 hours, or else he threatened further actions by impugning my integrity with you, the committee members and the delegates. But ladies and gentlemen, let me share with you that while Mark Elmore is certainly a nice guy and to many a great friend, he's developed a pattern of conjuring up false stories during campaign season. In 2008, his campaign attributed a photo and caption about his then opponent as being from the Washington Post. After acknowledging the misrepresentation, his campaign then attributed it to the LA Times. In neither case did either publication ever have that photo, caption, or any related article. He purposely misrepresented his opponent then, and he's doing it again now. I take my integrity seriously. For those of you that think I'm being too hard on a fellow Republican, please tell me how would you react if you were called a liar and then threatened with further action if you didn't meet your attacker's demands in 24 hours? I will always defend my integrity, mine, yours, anybody else's. Now let's get down to business that we all came here for. Integrity issues aside, why should you vote for me at the convention this Saturday, May 30th? Because I'm the only conservative in this race. So let's compare your choices. First, my opponent has chosen the middle ground and has hired a consultant whose business model and brand are designed to get moderate candidates elected. That's right, moderate candidates, not conservative candidates. Secondly, my opponent has stepped onto this stage 3 times before and come up short every time. Again, I know he's a friend of many of you, but he's the friend that keeps on losing. And that's not me being negative, that's me stating a fact. He's a nice guy, he's likable, he's just not electable. In my calls to delegates these past few months, most have expressed their understanding of this distinction between personal and professional feelings. But there are still a few holdouts that are placing a higher value on friendship than on winning. And lastly, his position on the issues lean more to the left than they do to the right. He doesn't mention socialism in his campaign announcement video. He doesn't mention it anywhere on his campaign website. He's okay with allowing some abortions. He supports restrictions on the purchase and possession of guns. He wants to give illegals a pathway to citizenship. He supports increased spending on education and expanding government health care programs. And believe it or not, he wanted to increase law enforcement ability to monitor domestic communications. Wouldn't you agree that those positions sound a lot like the positions taken by Democrats? He is hardly a conservative. He's in the middle. In stark contrast, long before I stepped into this race, I clearly recognized the threat of socialism because I've been fighting it my entire adult life. Socialism is the antithesis of liberty. It is the enemy of innovation, creativity, and individual responsibility. I've seen socialism up close and personal, and it's brutal and it's full of misery. It is no better than slavery. Unequivocally, I understand what's at stake at this year's election. The very soul of America. That's what I'm fighting for when I say fighting for the Republic. And when we talk about the other issues, they aren't really problems. They are symptoms of a much larger problem called socialism. When the socialists get removed from the process, most of those issues will self-correct. And those that don't, then and only then can we sit down and have a civil discussion or debate. And once we're able to get around to those issues, here are my positions on those. First, we must protect the unborn. The right to life is the first inalienable right under the Constitution of the United States. If the Constitution had to be signed today, Virginia would be absent from the signature line. Imagine the travesty of this state not being one of the 13 original colonies. Federal policy must stop abortions and start enabling adoptions and other alternatives. And I support legislation that protects the unborn and prevents the further devaluation and exploitation of motherhood. Second Amendment, to keep and bear arms is the quintessential right of the United States Constitution. It is the final barrier to and the final check on government aggression. I would risk my own liberty and my own life in order to defend myself or another person. Borders. Immigration is a pillar of our national identity, but the rule of law is the foundation upon which that and all other pillars stand. Not to mention illicit trafficking, whether it's drug trafficking, human trafficking, what have you. Health risks, drug cartels, crime, terrorism, you name it. It all is a result of a weak border. When you have a weak border, you have a country at risk. We must continue to build the wall, and I support legislation that enhances President Trump's border security initiatives. Healthcare, it's a service, not a right. We have to increase competition, improve access, and reduce costs. Improving education and funding. We must return to teaching young minds how to think, not what to think. Federal policy must deny funding to those institutions that fail their responsibility to uphold America's democratic ideals.
Jeff, if we can ask you to wrap up for us, we're a little over time.
All right. With Virginia, I will echo this evening's remarks by many of those running for elector. We need the RPV to step up. This is critical to conservatism in Virginia. That's where I stand. Stand with me. This is the time. This is our time. This is the best opportunity in 3 decades to turn District 8 red again. Vote for me, Jeff Jordan, this Saturday. Thank you. God bless you. God bless America.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay, Mark Elmore is next. Mark, I'll give you a little extra time if you need it at the end to give a even to both sides. So if you're there, you're up, sir.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can't see you, so if you're there, he is. There you are.
Yeah, there we go. Well, look, I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to especially thank the other candidates who are participating in this process, for putting their time, effort, and energy into this. It's a huge sacrifice, and I just am so grateful for all of my fellow Republicans here participating in the process. So, and thank you, Mr. Kelly, for this event. Well, good evening, everyone, and I want to thank you for allowing me the honor of speaking to you tonight so I can present my case as to why you should choose me as your Republican nominee for Congress this Saturday. Over the past several months, my campaign and I have been working nonstop to reach out to both our fellow Republicans and the 8th District community as a whole. We've walked alongside you within local parades. We've spent our weekends canvassing at community farmer markets, attended numerous community meetings, and held rallies to spread our message of faith, family, and freedom in all parts of the district. Most recently, my team and I have spent countless hours helping others during this government shutdown. We've delivered cookies to the healthcare workers, saving lives at every major hospital in the district. I even sent a letter on your behalf to Governor Northam in April, asking him to start reopening the state, something that is only now being done here in Northern Virginia. You can read this letter and learn more about my campaign by visiting our website at markelmore.com. My personal mission in life is to outlove, outwork, and outserve. And I'm proud to extend this mission into my campaign to defeat Don Beyer and the rest of the Democratic ticket this fall. That is our only hope for success. It will take a total commitment of time and energy from everyone in order for us to bring back balance to our community. Balance that is achieved only when everybody in this community feels like their views and opinions are heard and addressed by our leaders, both locally and in Washington. None of this, however, means that I will personally stray away from my long-held political beliefs. I'm a fervent constitutional conservative. I am proud to stand before you and call myself someone who is 100% pro-life, a strong supporter of the Second Amendment, and a firm believer in states' rights and limited government. In fact, I'm often asked what all of this means. So I'd like to take just a moment and read to you tonight what I believe is the foundation of why I am running to serve you in Congress. I believe that the free enterprise system is the most productive supplier of human needs and economic justice. I believe that all individuals are entitled to equal rights, justice, and opportunities and should assume their responsibilities as citizens in a free society. I believe that fiscal responsibility and budgetary restraints must be exercised at all levels of government. I believe that the federal government must preserve individual liberty by observing constitutional limitations. And I believe that peace is best preserved through a strong national defense. And lastly, I believe that faith in God, as recognized by our founding fathers, is essential to the moral fiber of the nation. Yes, I just read to you the official creed of the Republican Party of Virginia. You see, this election is about much more than just this race here in the 8th District. Whoever is nominated must be able to support the president and invigorate our Republican Party statewide, all the while helping to attract new members to the fold. If we do a great job here in the 8th District, Virginia is back in play for the president again. It'll also help our nominee for the United States Senate, as they will have a tough struggle on their own against Mark Warner this fall. It's up to you to decide which candidate on the ballot this Saturday will be able to best grow our party here in Northern Virginia. Which candidate will best be able to attract independent voters by running an issues-based campaign and demonstrating calm and mature leadership. And which candidate will bring the most value to the Republican ticket in November. We need to be able to explain to voters why free market capitalism was far superior to the secular humanist socialism being pushed right now by Democrats. Don Beyer may have cast himself as a pragmatist while serving in Richmond, but he has since shown his true progressive stripes and truly painted himself as a top lieutenant for Nancy Pelosi on Capitol Hill. This race is personal to me, and as your nominee, I promise to put my all into running by a high energy, high integrity campaign designed to build the party and bring balance back to our region. I've lived in this district my entire life and couldn't be prouder to call Alexandria my home. There's a long record of my service and commitment to this community through both mission outreach efforts associated with my church and other local philanthropic organizations, as well as the Republican Party here in Northern Virginia. I come to you today as a person grounded in their faith who can handle the heat that secular humanist socialists are going to bring this fall. Yet over these last few weeks, I've been called a loser, a Democrat, and even accused of colluding with a local party chairman over a recent candidate for him. All of these baseless accusations have come while I've been out representing you in the community, serving others in the midst of a global pandemic, which is why even with those insults, I keep thinking about what my political hero, the late President Ronald Reagan, what he would do if he were in my shoes. Reagan, as you remember, created the 11th commandment, calling on Republicans, not to say anything negative about a fellow Republican. I couldn't agree with that sentiment more. Reagan didn't berate, belittle, or besmirch anyone on our team. He may have disagreed with people, but he respected them, the mark of a true leader. And that's how I intend to lead you if you choose me as your nominee on Saturday. There's too much at stake this fall for it to be any other way. We need a candidate who will run a vibrant, passionate campaign that is focused on spreading our message to every corner of the district and building our party for the future. Arguing and creating controversy will bring none of us new family members. It simply will do the opposite, and Republicans already face too many obstacles without partisan bickering in the mix. So on behalf of my wife, Fariba, and I want to thank you for this amazing opportunity. And I promise you that we will make you proud and we will be relentless in our effort to spread our message moving forward. I pray for your health and well-being, and I would be honored to represent you this fall as your Republican nominee for Congress. May God bless you, and thank you for taking the time to considering my case this evening. I'm ready to go, 100%. I'm all in. Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
Thank you, sir. And I believe that concludes our speakers for tonight. I want to thank all of you who took the time out of your evening to be here. It is a nice evening and could have been doing a lot of other things. I also want to thank you all for your patience in this process, as we've been in uncharted territory with this unassembled or drive-through convention. And I'll ask in advance for your patience Saturday. We think we're ready to go, but you know, you have a plan. Sometimes it doesn't work. So we're planning, and we'll be prepared for Saturday. But thanks in advance for your patience. If you do have any questions, the email you've been getting from me, chairman@CAGOP8CD, .org will get to me, and I'd be happy to answer them for you. You will be getting a detailed instruction email on Thursday or Friday with where to enter the parking lot and how to go through the line. So, and again, even late Friday night, feel free to shoot me questions if you have them. Again, thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. And if there's nothing else, I wish you all a good evening.
Thank you very much, Chairman Kelly.
Thank you, everybody.
Well done, Mark. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Mark.
Good night.
Have a great one.
Hey, thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank
Good night,
you,
all.
Mark.